Previously on Unscripted.
So I'm entered in the draw, and I'll find out on Monday if I'm going to Oshiega.
After all these years, 20 years living in Toronto-ish?
Finally, my French language pays off.
You're listening to Unscripted with Skip Sherman and Josh Obadia.
Okay, Skip, so today we're going to talk about our favorite Toronto Blue Jays. Not current, but all time. But before we get to that, I want to tell you about my trip to Montreal last weekend with Joe and Justin.
Yeah, it was great to see you last weekend, even if it was just for a couple hours.
It was great to see you too. So for the listeners who are not aware, my friend Joe wanted to go to Montreal to do a taste test of as many different poutine places as possible in a span of about 24 hours. And he wanted me to come with him because he needs sort of a sidekick, and his regular sidekick doesn't want to do this anymore. So, since he knows that I'm an ex-Montrealer and I know my way around, he figured it would be a good idea for me to join him. Plus, I've done other stuff with him, so I know what it's like working with him.
Exhausting.
A little bit. So I decided to go with him and Justin. Justin is one of his best friends, and Justin is also a cameraman because we need someone to record this whole thing. So we went to Montreal. We left early Saturday morning, and we went to about 6 poutine places on Saturday, and then to another 6 on Sunday, and then we left and got back to Toronto late on Sunday night. So it was a very busy trip. And of course, we had to pace ourselves because we were eating so much poutine. You can't finish the portion that you're served. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to eat the rest of the day.
Really, you just have 1 or 2 bites and that's it.
Right, exactly. Anyway, but I don't even want to talk about the poutine. What Joe always does when he goes on road trips, no matter where he goes, he finds a karaoke place and he goes to do karaoke because he loves doing that. So
Right.
We found a karaoke place on Saint Laurent, and he's been to this place before because he was in Montreal 5 years ago for a similar trip, also to try poutine, except he only went to 3 poutine places 5 years ago. So this karaoke place is very similar to the karaoke place that Joe and I used to go to in Toronto, where, they got these binders and there's pages and pages of songs, and you look for your song and you write down the number of the song and your name, and you give in this little scrap piece of paper. And the guy in charge, he usually goes in order. So if I give mine in before you, I'll go on stage before you, whatever. The place that we used to go in Toronto is really good, and it's smart because what happens is when someone is up there singing, on the screen it'll say who's next, sort of like on deck.
Right.
So otherwise, how would you know that you're next? So it's great. Now, the place we went to in Montreal does not have anything on the screen. So You have no idea who's next. It could be you, but it might not be you for another 5 songs. You have no clue.
The element of surprise.
Right. But the added problem is this guy in Montreal, the owner, it's only 2 people who work at this place, the owner and another guy. And when we got there, when we arrived, including the 3 of us, there were only 10 people in the place. So it was kind of dead. However, in about an hour or less, it all of a sudden got really packed. It was crazy jammed there. Right when we arrived, there's someone on stage and he's just finishing his song and whatever. And so we go there to the bar to look at the binders, see what songs, and order drinks. Anyway, the guy finishes his song, and the owner who's behind the bar, who's directing traffic and telling everyone who's next and whatever, I guess the guy on stage didn't get off the stage right away. I didn't notice that he did anything wrong, but the owner is yelling into the microphone so everybody can hear. And even because the door's open, I think people outside could hear. He's like, "Get off the stage. It's not your turn anymore. You're not supposed to be there. And if you don't want to follow the rules, get out of here."
It's the Nazi karaoke bar.
It was crazy. I couldn't believe. So now I'm all of us, the 3 of us are afraid of this guy.
Right. Now you're stressed to even go up there. If you go 10 seconds too long, you're going to get a talking to in public.
And as I mentioned, there's no way of knowing who's next. So what he does, because we were sitting there watching before it was our turn, when a song ends, he starts the next song right away. And then he says the name of the song, or you figure out the name of the song, and then you're like, oh, it's me. I better go. So
you missed the beginning.
Correct, which is so annoying. Like, you
and
can't
not
just
only
wait
that,
a
it's
few
stupid.
seconds, say the person's name, and then hit play. Like, I don't understand.
Oh, God. Weird.
So already we weren't happy. Anyway, Joe and I gave in our songs like literally right after each other. Like, he handed in his paper, then I handed in my paper.
Okay.
And so when Joe was up there, I figured, oh, okay, I'm going to be next, because I know I gave in my song right afterwards, and there was no one who gave in a song between him and I. But I wasn't next. So I'm like, oh, well, who knows when I'm going to be now, right? Like, I don't know what order this guy's going in. Like,
Yeah.
so sure enough, like, I don't know, a song goes by, and then he finally starts playing my song. It was Blow It High Dough by the Tragically Hip. I hear it playing, so I go up there, but I missed the first line or two of the song.
Right.
So that's frustrating.
That's stupid.
It is. Anyway, we were going to leave. We were just going to do one song and leave, but Joe wanted to do a second song. So then I said, okay, I'll do a second song. So then again, we both give in our songs like within, I don't know, a minute of each other. Who knows? And then not long thereafter, Joe's song comes up. So he goes up there, and I figure, okay, like, I'm going to be, if not next, soon.
Yeah.
But like, one song, 2 songs, 3 songs, 4 songs, 5 songs. Like, he's not calling my name. He's not calling my song. I don't know what's going on. And like, I don't want to go and ask him, because he's going to yell at me, right?
Case. Yeah.
And then he's never going to pick me.
Right.
So anyway, at a certain point, I'm like, okay, we're leaving. I don't care anymore. He's not calling my name. But since we're leaving, I'm going to go and give this guy a bit of a hard time, because I don't care what he does to me. Right?
Yeah.
Like, I want to get to the bottom of this. And remember, I have a mic on my collar because we've been recording stuff all day. And so I made sure it was on, and Justin is filming this, but like from far, because he doesn't want the owner to know that we're filming this.
Right. But meanwhile, you are recording this guy.
Intentionally, yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Like,
So what happens?
You can hear me clearly. You can't hear him as clearly, because...
Yeah, of course.
So I go up there, and I'm like, and he doesn't know that I'm leaving. He doesn't know that I'm giving up. And I said, I gave in a song a while ago, and you never called my name. He's like, I'm very busy here. Leave me alone. Leave me alone. Like, he doesn't even want to talk to me.
Right. Okay.
And so then I ask again. I'm like, what order are you going in? Like, are you going by the order of how people handed in their songs? He's like, I can't talk right now. Leave me alone. Leave me alone. He doesn't want to talk to me. So I'm not like, I'm not leaving until I get some kind of an answer. I ask him a third time, and this time he says, you know how come they got on stage before you? I said, no, because they bribed me. They gave me $20. That's why.
Oh my God. Like, as if you need to bribe someone for karaoke. Give me a break.
So, and then he points to a sign behind the bar. It says VIP $20 per song. And then it says it in French too. Meaning that if you want to get up there earlier or quicker, you got to give him $20. Now, I didn't see anybody giving him any money at all. Maybe they did, maybe they didn't. I have no idea.
I mean, if you did, you're a sucker.
No, I didn't give him a dime.
I know, but I mean, other people. I mean, it's
So
stupid.
anyway, and then we left. And then as we were leaving, funny enough, these 2 girls who were sitting next to us, they asked us if we're going up to sing a song. Like, they didn't see that we had sung earlier because they arrived late. And they asked if we're going up to sing a song. And I said, well, I'd like to, but this guy never calls my name. Like, he's an asshole. I don't know if I said the word asshole, but whatever.
Yeah, okay.
And then she starts talking. Apparently, she's been there many times before. She's like, oh my God, he is the biggest asshole. One time I came in here and I had just gone to get ice cream before coming in, and he saw me walking in with my ice cream, and he yells at me to get out of the place. Anyhow, so it turns out he is an asshole, and this is from someone who's encountered him more than once. So,
not just you, I guess.
So we leave, and we go walking around Saint Laurent. We go get ice cream, actually, and then we walk past the place. It was almost an hour later. We walk past the place, and we decide to just pop in, see what's going on. And funny enough, the girl that had talked to us that said he was an asshole is up on stage at that moment. So somehow she got up there. I don't know how.
Okay, very good. What was the second song you were going to sing?
I was going to do Sally When the Wine Runs Out.
Oh, would have been great. That would have been the song of the summer, karaoke song of the summer.
For sure. I should have done that one first. I didn't think of it. But anyway. Okay. We'll be right back after this to talk about our favorite Toronto Blue Jays of all time.
You're listening to Unscripted.
I'm Joseph DeBenedictis.
And I'm Ross Citrullo.
And we're doing this podcast so we don't have to go home and get a real job.
Exactly.
That's right. And we're doing it to tell you about our pursuit of the dreams we've had since being a kid, being young, trying to get into the entertainment industry. Us, we're mid-career, sort of. We're kind of halfway broken in a way. But we both have these big dreams and big goals.
Aspirations, really.
For our careers.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. This podcast is about the journey through the industry, trying to make it, but trying not to have to give up.
So listen to our podcast on all the places you might listen to a podcast. Apple Podcasts, Spotify. We have our own YouTube channel where you can watch the video version. All the links can be found at you'llnevermakeit.ca. Here's hoping we do.
And now, back to Unscripted.
Okay, Skip, we're back.
We haven't talked about baseball. Well, I mean, we talk about baseball almost every episode in one way, shape, or another, either at the beginning or in the final thoughts. But we haven't done like an actual baseball episode, top 5 favorites of whatever, in a while. And people who have been listening since day one or since just since this year, even more recently, know that like we don't like the Jays. Like we do not like the Toronto Blue Jays. Like I don't like the Toronto Blue Jays.
Although they're not my most hated team. I would have to say my most hated team is a toss-up between Washington and Atlanta.
I agree 100%. They are far from my most hated team. Like I even before we started this, I told you I watched some Jays games this week, and the only reason I watched is because I was literally rooting against the Yankees.
Right.
But like it's just a team that like I can't root for. A few years ago, remember they're in the playoffs, the teams with Donaldson and Bautista, and like they went to the ALCS, I think like a couple of times.
So yeah.
And there's like Blue Jay fever all over the country, and Sportsnet and TSN, it's Jays. Everybody's talking about the Jays. And I'm literally in my house rooting for the Texas Rangers. Like I'm like actively rooting against the Jays. Like I'm just not cheering for them. So it's kind of weird because we thought about this topic almost a month ago when the Jays were kind of getting hot this year. And it just so happens that they are in first place in our division right now. They have the best record in Major League Baseball. 2 important points, but really points that I don't care that much about because I'm still not cheering for them. But as Expos fans, as lifelong Expos fans, like rooting for the Jays was never something like that was something you could do. Like it was never something that I even considered, But like you've been living in Toronto for all these years, right?
Yes.
And I know you do go to some Jays games, but like you are not a fan really.
Right. I go because I want to see a baseball game. And actually, the main reason I go, just so you know, it's because normally I go with a friend of mine who I haven't seen in like a year, and I just want to hang out with them. And like, if I'm going to hang out with them, we might as well hang out at the ballpark. And like sometimes the baseball game is like, oh, the game is happening and I'm not even really paying attention.
Right. But like example, like I went to Toronto last year to visit you, and I went to a Jays game, right? Because it's like, when am I going to go see a Major League Baseball game that much, right? So, but some people in Toronto, you must know some. I mean, I know I'm friends with them on Facebook and different places. The people who are originally Montrealers, there's tons of them living in Toronto now that have become like active Jays fans. They are hardcore. They've been deprogrammed as Expos fans, and now they're in the Jays cults. Like, this is something that happens, right? To people.
Oh, for sure.
Right?
There's tons of those people.
It's interesting. Like I always wondered, like if I moved to Toronto, would I get sucked in? I probably would because I'm that type of personality. Like
I want to remind those people who have been converted to Jays fans.
Yeah.
I want to remind them that when Major League Baseball had that vote to eliminate Montreal and Minnesota, by the way, they were going to eliminate 2 teams. Every team in the league voted to eliminate Montreal, including Toronto.
Yeah, sons of bitches. But that's not the fans. That's the ownership group at the time.
Right, exactly. Yeah. No, I'm not talking about the fans.
Yeah.
I'm talking about the ownership.
Yeah. Yeah. So we decided that it would be fun today to talk about our favorite Toronto Blue Jays players of all time, players that we liked for whatever reason. Now, there are a lot of Jays players that I like. I like doing this list. I could have included a lot. I'm like, oh, I like him. I like that one. But it's funny, how my list ended up, because you're going to see there's a little bit of a theme. And clearly there are some players that are played for the Expos and the Jays. I don't know if you have those in your list, or you do, or
I don't
not,
have any of those, but there are a bunch
No?
of them.
There are a bunch. Okay, I'm glad you didn't include those. But you'll see like what happened with my list and how it ended up. But as I was making it, it became clear that like I really don't like the Jays, because the guys on my list didn't play for Toronto that long, you know? I don't have like Dave Stieb on my list, you know, like or these guys, right? But yeah, what about you? Was it hard to do your list, or
It wasn't hard at all, actually. I came up with a long list of 10 and then narrowed it down to 5. I don't have any players that played on the Expos on my list, actually. Some of them, you know, were maybe only on the Jays for one season, but that doesn't matter. But yeah, no, it wasn't hard to make a list.
are they like big stars, the players on your list, or are they role players, or
I would have to say that they're all big stars.
Okay.
I would have to say.
So I'm just feeling that question now, because I'm starting to wonder like how many we're gonna have the same.
Probably none.
Probably none.
That's my guess. You won't have this guy. I don't think you're going to have this guy. Yeah, I maybe one, but I doubt it. Maybe one, but I doubt it.
I can't wait. I can't wait to see it.
Like,
to
I mean,
see
if
your
you're
list.
telling me that you pick guys who also played on the Expos, I can guess who's on your list.
No. I didn't pick guys who also picked on the Expos. Well, one, but I mean, it's pretty obscure. But yeah.
I think I could guess one of yours.
Okay, well, like, do you want to guess it right now?
Damaso Garcia.
Oh my God.
I considered putting him on my list because I remember when he was on the Expos.
No comment until we start doing the countdown. But like, I just want to remind people, we don't rehearse. We don't divulge anything. And if you ever want to know how deep our friendship goes, I have 2 words for you. Damaso Garcia.
Or Rex Hudler.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, in this context,
Right,
that's
exactly.
That's incredible that you guessed that. All right, so I'll start.
Go ahead.
Number 5.
All right, number 5 on my list, Jesse Barfield.
Okay.
Now, in doing this list, it's interesting because of like, why do I like Jesse Barfield? I don't know. I'm not 100% sure. I mean, I always really like players that like, especially right fielders that had like a big arm, right? Like guys that could really had cannons in the outfield. I always love those guys. Jesse Barfield had a great arm. And, you know, he had many great seasons for the Jays, including like one big 40 home run season in 86. And was part of that, like when the Jays were first becoming good, like in the early 80s, early mid 80s. He was part of that like big outfield. They had a great outfield, George Bell, Lloyd Mosby, and Barfield, right? It was really exciting. I guess if you were a Jays fan at the time, it was really exciting. And I always looked at them, like, because the Expos were still good then, and I always looked over at Toronto. I was like, oh, they got like these good players, you know? Like, and I always loved Jesse Barfield. And I'll tell you a Jesse Barfield story. I have a little story about most of my guys, my picks, and some of them, it's not when they were on the Jays, it's other stuff. I went to a Red Sox game. It was probably 1990, I think, in Fenway. And Jesse Barfield was on the Yankees. And Mike Greenwell of the Red Sox came up with the bases loaded, hit a ball to right field in Fenway Park. Jesse Barfield completely butchered it. The ball rolled around the right field corner, came all the way over back into center field, and Mike Greenwell got an inside the park grand slam home run. Although it could have just been a big, huge error, but they gave him a grand slam.
Yeah, that's rare. Very rare. And Mike Greenwell's not exactly a fast runner either.
No. So that's my Jesse Barfield story.
Okay, before I get to my list, you mentioned Jesse Barfield, who played in the 80s. Now, I'm sure you'll remember that in the 1980s, there was a grocery store. I don't even remember which grocery store it was, but every summer they would come out with something to do with baseball. And you could go to the grocery store and you'd get either an Expo or a Blue Jay poster or something. So I had all these little posters at home, and they're all Expos and Blue Jays.
I went through some of my old stuff that I kept over the years, and I found some of these. And stickers, too. There's other times where they would give stickers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, like you mentioned Jesse Barfield, and I'm sure he was one of the posters that I had. So, some of the players in my list, I had posters of them. So, you'll understand when we get to them.
Yeah, okay.
But the point being that this grocery store thought that everyone in Montreal was an Expos fan and a Blue Jays fan.
Yeah, which is literally the opposite. Yeah.
Anyhow, number 5 on my list is Marcus Semien.
Marcus Semien. Okay. Okay, keep going. No judgment.
He only played 1 season on the Jays, but you could argue that it was his best season because, first of all, he won the Silver Slugger that year. He won the Gold Glove that year. He was 3rd in MVP voting, by the way, behind Shohei Ohtani and Vladimir Guerrero Jr. He was an all-star. Now, he played second base with Toronto, and he's played second base since then. But before he got to Toronto, when he was with Oakland, he played shortstop almost exclusively. So clearly he's very good defensively. He can play shortstop. And you know that I've always liked middle infielders because I played middle infield. Yeah. So that's part of the reason why I liked him. Another reason I liked him was because the year before he was on the Jays, I had him on my fantasy team and he was phenomenal. So, like, I didn't have him, unfortunately, the year he was on the Jays. I don't even know if I even played fantasy baseball anymore at that point. Yeah. But he was on my fantasy team, so I felt like he was my guy. Like, I discovered him.
You bring up an important point because a lot of the guys on my list I like them for reasons like you said. Either it's a fantasy team that you had him on. For me, it goes back to Stratomatic Baseball. Did I have this guy on my strat team like when I was 12, right? Like these are some of the reasons why I gravitate towards, certain players. Or like you said, well, I'm going to say it in a second, but if I want to, are you ready to go forward to my number 4?
No. So let me just tell you some of his stats from for that 1 year with Toronto. So he played all 162 games. You don't see that very often. And he's done that like 3 or 4 times in his career. So he's very durable, which I like. Mm-hmm. He hit 45 home runs, his most home runs for him in any season, 102 RBIs. He even stole 15 bases. So like, and he's been, I don't know if he's been as good, but he's been very good ever since he left Toronto, ever since he got that big contract with Texas. So
I mean, he's been a very good player on Texas. He's hit in the 20 homers, got 100 RBIs.
Yeah.
I mean, he never duplicated that 45 home run season, but he's been a very good player for Texas.
Right, but he's been an all-star a couple times. Actually, in 2023 with Texas, he was also 3rd in MVP voting. So,
Yeah. No, good player. Very good player.
Number 4.
All right, so number 4 for me. You mentioned his name already. We've heard him talk. This is going to be known as the Damaso Garcia podcast. So yes, he's my number 4, like the J. Why? I had him on a Stratomatic team in 1982. He had a nice little card where he's a very good defensive player, good speed, could steal bases. He's like a throwback in terms of like people used to think he was good because he had a high batting average, but like he never walked. Like so in today's day and age where they measure OBP, he would be completely devalued even if he hit 300, right? And I always like in those days, like we kind of romanticized a little bit about like what a second baseman should be, smaller guy, great fielder, good speed, could hit a little bit, bat second or lead off, right? Like these are like the tried and true attributes of like a middle infielder. And then of course he did play actually quite many years on the Jays. I think like 5 or 6 or maybe more seasons. But he did finish his career with the Expos in 1989. He played like just that 1 year for the Expos. And he only hit 3 home runs as an Expo in that season. But you do remember one of them, I'm sure. I don't know if you remember.
I think I know which one you're talking about.
There was a game of the week on NBC. Expos versus Reds, and the Expos had a huge comeback. We were trailing by all kinds of runs, and Damaso Garcia hit like a big home run, I think in extra innings, to win the game. And like, I always like, it's pretty crazy because this little second baseman that literally, hit 36 home runs in his entire career has this one big walk-off home run for the Expos, So anyways, that's Damaso Garcia.
It's great that he's your number 4 because my number 4 is Tony Fernandez, who was like his double play combo.
Yeah, I mean, Tony Fernandez is like, if you talk to hardcore Jays fans, he's going to be on a lot of hardcore Jays fans all-time shortstop. Like, he's their greatest shortstop they ever had, no?
He could be. Like, I was trying to think of other shortstops, and he could be their best shortstop ever. So he was actually on the Jays 4 separate times in his career. Like, he would leave and come back.
Yeah. Well, he was involved in that huge trade, right, where they got Alomar, right? He got traded to the Padres, right?
Right.
And then it was gone and then came back, right?
He had 4 separate stints with Toronto.
It's crazy.
And so he was an all-star 4 times as a Blue Jay, and he's also the all-time franchise leader in hits, singles, and triples.
He's the all-time franchise leader in hits. If you would have asked me that question, I don't know if I would have thought of him, honestly. Although, yes, because he was there so long, so I guess maybe, yeah.
His best season as a Blue Jay was 1986. He hit .310 that year, and he only hit 10 home runs. Now, I say only because 10 home runs these days, every player hits 10 home runs these days. But back then, you didn't have like 8 guys on your team who would hit 20 home runs like you do now.
Yeah.
So 10 home runs for a middle infielder was a big deal at the time.
All I could say about Tony Fernandez, because you talked about his offensive stats, he was a tremendous defensive shortstop. He was a joy to watch. He was a joy to watch play defense. He made it. He just was effortless out there playing shortstop. He could get to everything, make every throw.
You might think it's crazy for me to say what I'm about to say, but he was just as good as Ozzie Smith defensively.
Kind of close.
Yeah.
Kind of close. Closer than you think. Yeah.
And I didn't mention, unfortunately, he passed away in 2020 at a very young age of 57.
Wow. Okay. Rest in peace.
Number 3.
All right. Number 3 for me. I'm going to start the theme. You're going to see the theme of my top 3. Number 3 for me is Paul Molitor.
Oh, he made my honorable mentions.
So, I mean, he only played... I mean, look, we're talking about a Hall of Famer here. A player who's actually in the Hall of Fame. Over 3,000 hits, 3,319 career hits, which is a huge number. Huge, massive number. But only 3 of those seasons were in Toronto. He played almost his entire career on Milwaukee, and then those 3 seasons with Toronto, he ended up with the Twins after. He was just a great hitter. He's just a great hitter. And I remember, the Jays won the World Series in 92. They had a really good team. And then they acquired Molitor for the 93 season. And I was like, Jesus. How loaded is this lineup going to be? And then they got Ricky Henderson at the trade deadline that year. So that 93 Jays lineup, once they got Henderson, it was mental. It was a murderer's row.
Yeah.
Of batting
insane.
average, right? So, I mean, Molitor in his 3 seasons with Toronto hit 332 and then 341 and then 270, which is weird for him. But he was just such a great player for them, such a great hitter. He really put the Jays over the top on that 93 season, and just a professional hitter. The guy was just a great hitter.
You mention?
That's why I love watching him.
Maybe you already said it and I missed it. Did you mention Dave Winfield was on that team as well?
I'm gonna.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Dave Winfield was actually not on the 93 Jays. He was only on the 92 Jays.
Right, sorry, whatever. So number 3 for me is Edwin Encarnacion, who you like to call Incarnation.
Encarnation, or some people call him EE.
Oh, I never even heard that nickname.
Yeah.
So he was on the Jays from 2009 to 2016. He hit more than half his career home runs with the Jays, 239 home runs as a Blue Jay. That's good for 3rd in franchise history. He's 6th in franchise history in RBIs with 679. And one of my favorite things about Encarnation is that every time he hit a home run, he'd have his imaginary parrot with him. You know, this is how he would run, holding his parrot,
Yeah.
but there was no actual parrot.
Such a strange guy.
He might have been the only guy who, like, you know how the guys, when they hit a home run, they always shake the third base coach's hand, which I never understood that, by the way.
Yeah,
he
like
might have
as
been
if
the
they
only
had
guy
something
that
to do with
didn't
it.
do that.
He was an interesting player because he was on the Reds before the Jays got him, and he was always showed flashes, and he had some decent seasons. But like once he got to Toronto, his career really took off. Like the Jays really like told him like go and be you, and because in Cincinnati there was always like, oh, he can't play defense, he's not a good third baseman, and the Jays were just like, just go hit homers, you know.
Yeah, you're right. He was just ordinary in Cincinnati, and when they acquired him,
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, he's just another guy. But he actually, like you said, he flourished in Toronto. His best
Yeah.
season as a Blue Jay was 2012. He hit 280 that year, 42 homers, 110 ribbies. And again, this is before
Yeah,
the explosion of home runs.
yeah.
So by the
He
way,
was
he
good, good
walked. You
player.
were mentioning walks earlier. He walked 84 times. He had a 941 OPS in 2012. That's insane.
No, I know he was a really good player. They had like they had some good lineups, the Jays, in those years. You know.
Yeah. So there's my number 3.
Number 2.
I'm on my number 2, and that's Roberto Alomar. Like a lot of people don't like Roberto Alomar. He spit at an umpire once, and he seemed to be like a kind of crusty personality. Like some people just found him unlikable. Like I didn't care about that. I loved watching Roberto Alomar play baseball. Like incredible second baseman, could do it all, could run, could hit for power, could hit for average. Like he made playing second base look so effortless. Like he just was such a great baseball player. Like I just feel like he could have done anything. You know, I think he played like 5 seasons, so I'm counting them now. He played 5 seasons on Toronto. To me, he's like recognized more as a Blue Jay, I guess, than any other player, than any other team, I should say. Although he did play on like the Padres and the Orioles after, and Cleveland and the Mets. Like he played on so many different teams. But most people do associate him more with those 92 and 93 Jays teams that won the World Series, and certainly he was like a huge part of their. I just mentioned like the Murderers Row in 93, like he was a huge part of that, you know. So yeah, Roberto Alomar.
Okay. So the next guy on my list, my dad claims that he discovered this guy.
Oh yeah, I'm sure there's scouts that drafted him. There's scouts that drafted him, and he played in high school, but your dad discovered him.
Right. And this was my dad's favorite player. And it's George Bell.
Oh, very good.
So George Bell, he played 1,181 total games as a Blue Jay. His career numbers as a Jay, 286 batting average with 202 homers and 740 RBIs. He played in 2 All-Star games as a Blue Jay. He won 3 consecutive Silver Sluggers from 1985 to 1987, and he was the American League MVP in 1987 when he crushed 47 homers and drove in 134 runs. And if you ever saw him play, like he just wanted to show up to the park and hit a baseball. You know, there was like,
Yeah.
he was almost like a natural.
For me, George Bell, I always think when I think of like who was the first Blue Jay superstar, real, like they had some all-stars and different players, but like who was their real first superstar? It was George Bell. And it's because he really was like in the MVP voting in those seasons, like in you know 85, 86, 87, right? So he's really, for me, the first Jay that really like was at the next level. So
Yeah.
but not on my list.
Number 1.
So my number 1 is someone that you mentioned before, and that's Dave Winfield.
So we have none the same.
Played one season on the Toronto Blue Jays, and that was 1992, the first Blue Jays World Series championship. And he's even at I don't know how old he was, but he was old. Still hit 26 home runs and still had 108 RBIs and hit 290 for the Jays in 92 when they won the World Series. And then crazy enough, he left the Jays for the Twins and had another great season for the Twins right after, right? So just such a great player. I love Dave Winfield. Dave Winfield's like one of my all-time favorite players. I just thought he was like in the same reason like why I like Roberto Alomar. Like I think Dave Winfield probably could have played any sport. I think he probably could have been like an NFL player, maybe a wide receiver, tight end. I think he probably could have just done anything he wanted, this guy. I think he was just such a natural athlete. I never liked him when he was on the Yankees because I didn't like the Yankees, but I still always respected him so much because he's just, no matter what, he would just like every year you just pencil him in 30 homers, 100 RBIs, 30 homers, 100 RBIs. And then the thing that always got me about Winfield is, and I'm going to I pulled up the stats so I can remember the years. He had like a couple of 30 home run seasons in a row in 82 and 83. And people were like, well, he only hit 280 and, yeah, the home runs are great. He only hit 280. And then they had Mattingly at the time who was like vying for batting titles. And I always have in my mind that in 84, Winfield just said, okay, I'm not going to hit homers this year. I'm just going to try to win the batting title. And he hit 340. And he just missed out on the batting title. I think that Mattingly won. But yeah, Dave Winfield is like just one of my all-time favorites.
It's amazing. Like, you think back now, all these players that the Jays acquired via trade or free agency, like Winfield, who did you mention earlier?
Molitor.
Right. And we didn't even talk about Jack Morris or Roger Clemens or Josh Donaldson. Like, how did they get all these guys?
Yeah.
Ricky Henderson, you mentioned earlier. Sean Green is another one. These guys are all on my honorable mentions list.
And just one more thing about Winfield, because he did only play that 1 year on the Jays, but he had the most important hit of their season in the 1992 World Series against Atlanta. I think it was, I'm not going to remember the game or the circumstance, but he hit like a double down the line to win that particular World Series game. And it was like literally the most important hit of the World Series and of their whole season. So,
very nice. You have an excellent list. So number one for me is completely different from all the other guys on my list because this guy is still on the Jays currently. In fact, he's played his entire professional career with the Jays. And it's Alejandro Kirk. Another player that my dad used to love.
You know what? He's very lovable, right? You can't help but root for Alejandro Kirk because he looks like a fire hydrant.
He doesn't look like a prototypical athlete, but he gets the job done and he does it well. Like, he was on the All-Star team this year. So he's played his entire career with the Jays. His rookie season was 2020. That was the shortened season. He got called up in September, and then he's been on the team ever since. He was an All-Star this season and also in 2022. He won the Silver Slugger in 2022. His career batting average, by the way, is 271, which is pretty good for these days. Like, these days, guys have batting averages of like 215. His career OPS, 742. That's excellent. He's a catcher, by the way. So, like, if you get any offense out of a catcher, it's all bonus. He's hit 43 career home runs. By the way, in case you're wondering, he has 0 stolen bases in his career, but he does have 1 triple.
Have you ever seen this guy run? Honestly?
Yes, I have.
Okay, so I do like him. He's 5'8", 245, and I think that 245 that I'm reading here on Baseball Reference may be
deflated.
Yes, exactly. Because he certainly, I guess it's because of his height. He really does not look like an athlete. But he's like the kind of guy you root for. He's fun to watch.
And by the way, if you need someone just to go up there and make contact, this is the guy you want. Like,
yeah,
he makes contact. He knows how to hit a baseball.
I did not expect any Jays from the current Jays team to be on your list, and Alejandro Kirk was not one that would have come to mind, but I can definitely see how if we're talking about like players that you want to watch, players that you like to root for, I could see why he's there. Yeah.
As soon as you suggested this topic, I knew who my number one was going to be.
Isn't that always the case? I
Yeah.
mean, come on.
Yeah.
You know what? When I suggested the topic, I didn't know who I was going to pick. Actually, in my mind, I thought it was going to be Roberto Alomar was going to be my number one. But then as I made the list, I'm like, oh yeah, Dave Winfield. He played that 1 year. Is it fair for me to put Winfield in this list if he only played 1 season? And I'm like, I don't know. He got the big hit in the World Series. He was a big part of their team, so why not, right? So,
Josh Donaldson was only on the team, I think, for 2 or 3 seasons.
Yeah.
Ricky Henderson, was it 1 or 2 seasons? I don't know.
I think one, not even half.
Yeah.
Yeah. So my honorable mentions, I don't know, do you want to go over them? But I'll go quick. Lloyd Mosby, John Olerud, Tom Henke, Roy Halladay, Joe Carter. Then a couple of ex-Expos. Otis Nixon, I don't know if you remember that. He played 2 seasons on the Jays.
I forgot.
You know, I looked up his stats. He only played like 2 years on the Jays, and he's still like 5th on their all-time stolen base list. I think he's had 100 stolen bases in those 2 years.
He could probably still steal bases today. He just wouldn't be able to get on base.
It's probably true. Darren Fletcher, ex-Expo as well.
Right.
And if you want to call out a current Blue Jay, like you had Alejandro Kirk, I did put Addison Barger. I think just because he's like, we talked about it before we hit record. I think he's the player most responsible for the Jays like resurgence this year, for like their awesome streak that they're on. Like, this guy's on fire.
So I mentioned a bunch of my honorable mentions, and you also mentioned them, but you didn't mention Rob Ducey.
Well, I mean, he's like,
there's
Rob Ducey is actually a player that I think he had a cup of coffee with the Expos too.
I think so. And there's another guy. I'm not sure if it's Garth or Dane Orge, but one of them, or maybe both of them were on the Jays. I don't know.
Garth or Dane Orge. One of them was definitely on the Jays, and one of them was definitely on the Royals. Or both. But yes. But those guys were just pinch hitters, no?
I know, yeah. But whatever. I remember their names. Oh, and of course, how can we forget Rance Mulliniks with those awful glasses?
And if you really want to go into the real deep into the bag here, and you want to talk about one of the original 2-sport athletes, we're not talking about Bo Jackson. We're not talking about Deion Sanders. We're talking about Danny Ainge.
Oh, that's right. I thought for sure he was going to be on your list because I know you're a Celtics fan.
Ainge actually did play third base in the major leagues for the Toronto Blue Jays before he decided to call it quits and become an NBA player and GM and president, and
we didn't even mention Ernie Witt or Buck Martinez.
Ernie Witt. Oh no, look, I can't put Buck Martinez because I think I'm going to anger Jays fans, but I think he's literally the worst broadcaster for any major league team that's there right now. He's brutal.
I agree, but I don't even know if he's done any games this year because when I watch, I never hear him or see him.
No, I know his health is not good. And then Ernie Witt, look, he was a nobody. He just caught a lot of games for the Jays, but he did represent Canada well, even though he's American, because he coached Team Canada he still does for Olympic baseball. And
he's going to be the manager for Team Canada in the World Baseball Classic in a few months.
Yeah, so I definitely have to give him a lot of credit for that. Even though he's not Canadian, but all the years he lived in Canada, I think he loved it, right? So good list, Josh.
Okay, we'll be right back after this with some final thoughts.
You're listening to Unscripted.
Hey everyone, Skip here. I'm really excited to invite all of you to follow my new account at Skip Cooks on Instagram and TikTok. I'll be sharing my love of cooking with recipes in the form of 1-minute music videos, all set to some of my favorite songs. Don't miss out, follow me, and let's have some fun in the kitchen.
Unscripted with Skip and Josh is available wherever you listen to podcasts. If you listen to the show through Apple Podcasts, please leave a review. To interact with the show, send an email to skipandjoshshow@gmail.com. Follow the show on Twitter and go to Facebook to like the show page. And now, some final thoughts from the guys.
I kind of texted you about this a couple weeks, I don't know, it's already a couple weeks ago. I tried to get tickets for Paul McCartney.
Yeah, you told me, and they were like $700 or something?
But it's not just that. I signed up for the pre-sale code, got it the morning of the pre-sale. So it's 2 days before it's going to the regular sale, which is just a scam because anybody who wants to go to the concert can just get that code. It's not like it's hard to get. It's not exclusive. So at the time of the sale, I log into my Ticketmaster and what does it say? You're 26,606 in line. So I'm like, what in the hell? I'm like, what am I going to do? So I just waited because I'm just watching a movie or TV anyways. I can just have my my app open and it's just going to wait, It didn't actually take that long. And the reason why it didn't take that long is because everybody had the same experience as me. It's like sold out. So you get in there and then there's nothing and then you leave. Like the line moved quick. And then finally about 45 minutes took to get into the sale. I get in there, put in my pre-sale code, and then basically it tells me there's like practically no tickets available. And the ones that are available are like $800 a ticket. So I'm like, okay. And then closed it, and that was it. But I mean, look, I'm lucky. I've seen Paul McCartney twice in concert, so this is not like a bucket list thing. One time was with you, actually.
Yeah.
Think about like if you were going to see Paul McCartney in 1989, 88, 87. There is no way you could line up at the venue, at the box office of the venue, the morning of a sale, and there would be 26,000 people waiting in line. Right? like think about that. That's like this is like anyways, I was so discouraged.
Back then there was like there was a strategy because there was more than one like Ticketron outlet. And so do you want to go to the one at the Forum or do you want to go to the one that's at like the Bay? They had one either at the Bay or Sears in Place Vertu. Yes, exactly.
Near your house.
So which one do you want to go to,
Yeah, well, I would usually go to like the one in a mall because it was like seemed like the better option, but still, I mean, God. Anyway,
the other thing that's frustrating now, by the way, that didn't used to happen before, you don't know what the price of the ticket is until it's your turn to buy the ticket. Like, I understand the sale only starts at a certain time on a certain day. That's fine. I can wait.
Yeah.
But like when you announce the concert, they don't tell you, by the way, tickets are $100 or tickets are $200 or they don't even tell you. So then it's finally your turn to buy and you're like, tickets are $800. I'm like, what? Like I wouldn't have waited if I knew that.
On the screen where I was waiting in line, it tells you the price range is $42 to $5,000.
That's retarded.
Okay, that really helps me. That really helps me make an informed decision,
So I had a similar situation as you, not exactly the same. My niece wants to go to see 21 Pilots. They're not going to be in Montreal. They're going to be in Toronto. And I got the pre-sale code for 21 Pilots. But I figured, it's 21 Pilots. I don't really need the pre-sale code. I can buy these tickets anytime. It's not going to get sold out. So I get the pre-sale code. I log in and I'm like, whatever. I'm like, I don't know, 100th in line, which is great compared to what you were. And then I see, and the ticket prices are, for me, in my opinion, for 21 Pilots, they're very high. Like the bad seats are like $125, the bad ones.
But that's what concerts are.
So anyway, I figure, okay, I'm not going to buy them. Like there's no rush. I can buy whatever. And then I continue to look at my screen because I have it like minimized on my computer. And like, lo and behold, the tickets are selling. Like there's like less and less tickets available. And then all of a sudden, I think it's like 45 minutes after the pre-sale started, and there's hardly any tickets left. I'm like, well, I better buy two now. And I actually couldn't even get two together. I got seat 1 and 3. Someone bought seat 2. I don't know why or how. So like there's going to be a person sitting between us. But I eventually did get tickets, and now the concert is not sold out, but virtually sold out. Then the next day, they added a second show. Now, the second show, there's plenty of tickets left.
Okay.
So they probably knew they were going to add a second show all along. They
always do.
They didn't add it until the first one was virtually sold out. So knowing what I know now, I should have bought 4 tickets, and then I could have sold 2 of them and made a profit.
You could have.
Because people are now selling their tickets at like double what face value.
That's right. That's the way it goes. You never know.
So I do have one other thing I wanted to mention to you. Now, it's funny because I actually had written this note in my Google Keep about a year ago.
Okay.
And I was waiting for the right time to mention it, and I should have mentioned it on our last episode, but I didn't. So I'm going to mention it now. But one thing that I complained about last year and the year before, and I think the year before that, and I think you complained about it as well, was these stupid uniforms that they wore for the All-Star game. Because,
You're talking about the Major League Baseball All-Star game?
Yeah. Because, you know, when we were watching baseball in the 80s and 90s and even in the 2000s, you would just wear your own uniform. And that was part of the cool thing about the All-Star game, because you could see, like, if there was an Expo, you would see there's an Expos uniform, right?
Yeah.
Anyway, the last, 3 years, Major League Baseball, obviously it's a money grab. They designed new uniforms just for the All-Star game.
Last year's were horrible.
Yes.
Horrible.
Yes.
This year's were a bit better.
No, this year they actually wore their regular uniforms. That's what I'm.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to tell you. They had made this announcement like right after last year's All-Star game because there was so much backlash. They said, okay, we're going back to everyone wears their own uniform. And that's what they did this year. And it was great.
Oh, the reason why I said that they weren't so bad this year is because I actually didn't watch the game, and I only watched the home run hitting contest where they did wear some other American League or National
For
League
the home
thing.
run derby, they wore separate uniforms, but for the actual game, every player wore their own regular uniform that they wear during the regular season.
I didn't watch 1 second of that game.
You didn't miss anything.
I mean, I saw the highlights of the swing off, but whatever.
It's the first All-Star game this year ever that did not have a winning pitcher or a losing pitcher. And the guy who won the MVP, Kyle Schwarber, had no hits in the game.
Not even no hits. He didn't even play in the field. Nothing.
I think he was the DH, maybe.
All right. Great talking to you about baseball. Weirdly, that it's weird to say that I love talking to you about the Jays. I don't know if we'll ever have such an in-depth Jays conversation again in our entire life, but we just did have one, which was great.
It's incredible. Like I have these alerts on my phone when the Jays game starts and ends, and so I often don't watch the game, but then I'll see the final score. They can't lose. It's unbelievable. They're facing Tarek Skubal today. He could be the best pitcher in baseball. So if they win this game, like there's no telling what they could do.
Well, the true test of the Jays season will be if they can convert either me or you to becoming a Jays fan. If they make the playoffs and I root for them in the playoffs, we'll know that there's something going on, right?
Right,
So.
exactly.
All right. Talk to you next time.
Have a great week.